and it's funny, obviously having only woken up probably about like half an hour ago, talking about dreams it seems like a very topical thing to do, but I'm curious to know, I guess just to start off, dreams can be so visceral, and we've all had those dreams where we kind of wake up and we go, was that real? Was that a dream? Where am I? I'm curious to know if you have one that stands out for you and one that maybe serves for some sort of inspiration, maybe not just for the film itself, but especially sort of the aesthetic and the feeling of the film. Do you have one that sort of sticks out?
Ooh, that's a really good question, and I've actually been thinking about this recently. I think like I've only had sleep paralysis once and it
Cool.
freaked me out so hardcore.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
if I believe in ghosts or anything, I think they can like access us from that state. And so I just remember it so vividly. I was in like high school and thought I was popping awake and then like slowly the covers started it was just like so cliche, but slowly the covers started being pulled and I was completely paralyzed and yeah, that really freaks me out in that like space between wakefulness and sleep. So that one definitely sticks out for sure. I'm trying to think if it influenced the film, probably.
I'm the same. I've only had it once, and it was like a weird demon possession dream. And I was like, I don't believe in ghosts. I'm not spiritual or anything. But it was like the one where I was like, that felt a little too real. It
Why
was.
are they always so terrifying? Like there's not a happy sleep
I
paralysis.
knew it was a dream as well because I was doing all the horror film cliches in the dream. Like I had someone like doing speaking in tongues in Spanish and stuff, and then like all of a sudden there was like a demon in front of me, and then I was like, I think this is a dream because I've watched so many movies. I think it's influencing the dream, but hey,
Yeah, that
who
makes sense.
knows? Who knows? I'm curious to know then that because that feeling is so visceral, like you said, it's one of those things where you just don't know what's real or not. I'm curious to know what it was like, sort of creating that tone, that atmosphere for the film. What was sort of your process in evolving that from what you wrote on the script to what we actually kind of literally feel and experience throughout Somnia?
Yeah, I mean, so it's funny because she really doesn't like clearly go into a dream state much at all, but
True.
we're just kind of living in this like suspended, disbelief. And so a big a big thing going into that for me, I'm super visual. So that came through in like color and production design. So I always wanted like sort of lighter pastels, pinks and blues that you'll see throughout the whole film, just kind of colors of the sunset give it this kind of dreaminess. And then also the production design and the set decoration.
Mm.
I just kind of wanted them to always be like a little off center. There's like, oversized props just lingering in the background. There's like yeah, a lot of set design that you maybe don't know what time period it's from, and we're just kind of living in this place that's a little bit more, yeah, blurred.
And how did sound design work into that? Because I obviously the sound design of the film's incredible, but the first thing you kind of throw us into in the movie is this very sort of abrasive, intrusive, these off-putting sounds that have that sort of stream-like scape. I'm curious to know what that collaboration was like and sort of finding then the soundscape of the film to exacerbate that, I guess, a little bit more.
Yeah, that was so fun. I love music so much, so I got really lucky with meeting this composer Mike Force to help me create the sound of this creature.
Mm.
And we wanted to dig into like, well, what actually scares this main character? And a big part of that was like letting go of the past. And so the ex-boyfriend plays guitar. And so we took that and flipped it. And the creature sound is actually just this electric guitar, just
Oh
super
wow.
reverbed. Yeah. So just like little subtleties like that hopefully you feel on a subconscious level. But that was really fun digging into what this creature should sound like because there were so many ways we were at first we were going with all these like animal sounds and
Mm.
stuff like that and then we just really found it in the music itself and then yeah I had a really good team. I got lucky with the sound design for sure.
That's it's incredible that it's a guitar because it really then sort of leans into more of the themes and sort of the foundation of Gemma's story herself and sort of
Yes.
obviously what she's going through with her relationship as well. And I'm curious to know, I guess talking about Gemma now, when it was decided for you that this was going to be a story about an actress, I guess the allure of fame and Hollywood obviously works well with the dream like stuff. But I'm curious to know, I guess it may be a chicken or the egg question. Was that always sort of the narrative you wanted to go down? Gemma was chasing this sort of heightened dream, that sort of thing. Like, was that always the case?
Yeah, it's so funny. I started writing this film in 2012, so it's been a
Wow.
very long time, and
Yeah, yeah.
and because of that, the script has changed so much. But the one thing that has stayed the same since then was always she was moving to LA to be an actress.
Mhm.
Maybe that was an early childhood dream of mine, being an actress, or
Sure.
I didn't really know which angle I wanted to take. I knew I wanted to be in film, but I think for a while early on it was acting.
Mm.
So of course, this being a version of myself, I'm sure in some way. Yeah, she was always moving to be an actress, and basically everything else in the script changed around that.
Yeah, wow.
Um, but yeah, chasing the dream in a dream state. Yes.
It works well. It goes hand in hand with each other. And then bringing Chloe in, like she is incredible in this film.
Yes.
Her like monologue towards the end, I was like, oh, she is like on fire in this film.
Yeah.
How did Gemma evolve when Chloe came in? What was the conversations between you both and sort of bringing her literally to life then?
Yeah. So again, so long we've been working on this. So we started filming all of the flashbacks. So all of her memory sequences were actually shot in 2018.
Right.
And then we used those and evolved the story around that. And so the present day stuff was shot like 4 years later. So she was like one of the earliest pieces that came on. And I'm so lucky she stuck with me for that gap of 4 years. But she came to me through a casting director. I had seen her on the OA and
Mm.
kind of just knew she had like the energy. We had a really nice Skype call. She was super cool. And we just kind of started talking. A lot of it was just communicating through music, like that. I just love music. And so we would send each other playlists back and forth,
Right.
and sort of like collaborate on a playlist of like, what is she listening to? She's really going through it with this ex-boyfriend. And then when we finally made it to LA, like 4 years later, it was this playlist of like, you're going for your dreams. And so yeah, other than that, um, I mean, of course she had questions, but like I kind of just gave it to her. Maybe I didn't have a choice because I was so overwhelmed, but I was like, take this. And she was just so prepared, like just such a rock star. So yeah.
And she is truly incredible. In the last answer you mentioned sort of about how sometimes you bringing bits of yourself into the project and obviously so I want to be an actress. I'm curious to know it's something I do see even with some work that I do, the artistic struggle is sort of balancing to make a living doing work and wanting to do something creatively, which is never as always financially lucrative as we would love it to be, right? I'm curious to know,
Yes.
do you sort of bring your own experience into that as well into this film? Because that is kind of, I think, anyone who works in any form of artistic or creative endeavor can relate to that. Is that something as well that you've experienced over your time as a filmmaker?
Definitely, definitely never make enough. Barely hanging on through it all. Yeah, the first like 5 years I was just bartending
Yeah.
my evenings so that during the day I could work on the movie. And then that wasn't really involving me much as an artist. So I got involved on set in art department. And so I did a lot of production designing of music videos, and that just helped me so much in just learning the language of, you know, what we're putting on screen, the art and the set decoration and all of that. So yeah, that helped a lot, and that, helped pay the bills.
It helps us do what we
Barely.
get. It helps you do what you get to love doing, right? Like that's,
Yeah.
it's the sacrifice we've got to make. Obviously, outside of some of the visual elements and sort of the stylistic elements, and a band being called Twin Peaks in the film, like David Lynch is obviously his spirit is very much all over this film. I'm curious to
Oh.
know sort of what the impact of his work was, not just necessarily on this film, but sort of you as a creative and even just as a person who loves cinema. What has David Lynch's sort of work done for you in your life?
Oh man. Oh, it makes me emotional. It's been like really
Yeah,
hard this year.
it's been a tough year
Um,
for Lynch lovers. Yeah.
yeah, it hit me. That was like the first one in a long time that like really gutted me.
Mm.
He just seems like such a cool guy or
Yeah.
seemed. And just like, yeah, I mean, he was a painter, and just the way that he looked at films like living paintings was so cool. I think that was always at the forefront of my mind with the shot design, because when you're designing a film where you have, a tenth of the time that you wish you had, you have to be very strategic with shots. And so, yeah, really thinking of like everyone being very intentional.
Mm.
But yeah, what a cool guy. So I didn't intend to get emotional, but yeah,
No, but
it's so weird. He's been like coming to me at a party. I was just this very weird. His spirit is very much still alive because he's been like showing up everywhere the last like 2 weeks. But yeah, obviously huge influence. Twin Peaks was incredible. And then the band being Twin Peaks in the movie
Mm.
wasn't even planned. That came like 3 days before the film shoot. It was
Oh wow.
crazy. Yeah. I did my location scouting on Airbnb,
Right. Yep.
and found a location on Airbnb, and he just happened to be the older brother of one of the bandmates and was like, they're filming if you want to go shoot them. I was like, what? So yeah, maybe I don't know, David Lynch has been pulling strings or something, but
I think
yeah.
they call it serendipity, right? You gotta
Yeah.
kind of roll with those waves that come
Yeah,
through.
he was tapped into something for sure. Something.
And he was so it was so what's the word I'm looking for? I guess like because my example of it is Twin Peaks was I'd watched Lynch films previously, and my mum loves movies, but she's not, I guess for lack of a phrase, a cinephile. She's not like looking for auteur directors. Twin
Mhm.
Peaks was the one thing we watched together from start to finish, where and she was
Wow.
like, "This is different. This is incredible." I'm like, "That's Lynch." I was like, "You're hooked in." We watched the whole original series. We watched the film together, and then when the revival series came out, we went week to week together. And I was like, David Lynch got my mum to love auteur cinema, and I was like, that's just the power of Lynch. He's that
That's
he's that damn good.
incredible. That's
Um,
so cool.
he's the best. He's the best, and I think obviously you wear the influences on the sleeve, but I just think as well like people continuing that trend and continuing his style is important because he was important to us. So I think that's very cool. I'm getting close to time here, and I want to finish up on this question, and it's probably more of a yes or no question, to be totally honest. And I don't want to give too much away about the plot, but I'm just curious to know, as someone who's now watched the film and sort of knows where it goes, how important are clocks and calendars and knowing where we are in the story? Is that something you were thinking about as you were filming, or am I just trying to find things in something that I'm trying to understand?
I love leaving things ambiguous. And I love that everyone gets these different things, but to me, I'll be quite honest with you, it wasn't at the top of my mind.
Okay.
Because the clocks and the calendars that you see, actually, we ended up having to film in pickups, because I was realizing that no one had any fucking clue what time of day it was. So yeah, it wasn't at the top of my mind. Again, blurring the lines, making you feel like you're a little bit lost and
It was the one thing I wrote down. I was like, I'm gonna ask because I'm like, am I supposed to be paying attention? But that's good. That, like I said, ambiguous filmmaking is exciting because I
yeah.
was getting really keen to be like, I'm definitely going to talk about this because and it works in that dream state
Yeah.
style of the film. What have you got coming up next? Are you working on anything at the moment? Are you writing? Do you reckon what's going on?
Yeah, I had a couple months there where things were a little slower and I was finally getting to start writing again, which was so fun and exciting. Right now it's obviously pretty hectic. We're like our release is in 3 weeks now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to just getting back to writing, and I think I will take what I've learned and probably scale down a little bit next time. Not so many locations and characters, but definitely something in the genre world, um, scary and probably dreamy and Lynchian, you know.
Oh, look, if it's more of what you've made and if that's more of what you want to make, then I'm excited. I think it's gonna be some pretty cool stuff. So, thank you,
Thank you.
Rachel, so much again for taking the time to chat. I really do appreciate it, and hope whatever you have coming up next, I hope we get to talk again for it. I really appreciate you
Yeah,
taking
me
time and
too.